All right. So this is FPL Kante welcoming all of you to our Game Week 21 preview. Uh, of course, the double game is coming up, so a lot to talk about. I have my buddies FPL Wrangler and ZD with me. Wrangler, how are you feeling?
I'm doing good, buddy. First double game week of the season, so definitely excited. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, last game week was good, so at least I'm in a good mood, good energy. So hopefully, I'll be able to bring it forward with me in the next game weeks. ZD, how are you?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, pretty excited. I think in 5 hours we are going to get our first double game week, so which is exciting. Looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. Well, one of us have the wildcard activated already, right? So that's also exciting. So we'll
Yeah,
talk about it. So that's the thriller. The thriller.
yep.
We'll let you guys know later who has the wildcard active. Okay, so let's move on. We'll try to do this quick. Of course, we are only about 5 hours away from the deadline. Uh, so first of all, just kind of quickly browsing over the Game Week 20 results. Nothing to talk really. So there was, of course, one mishap. Leicester beat Liverpool. Otherwise, mostly as usual, Chelsea also drew with Brighton. So as long as the championship is uh, there, so I think Man City is right now ahead by like 9 points or so from Chelsea. But I mean that's what it is. They're a strong team. They have all their players active. None of them are injured or COVID affected. Although there is a surprise probably, so we'll talk about it later too. Uh, but yeah, otherwise not much to talk about. Anything that you guys want to take from Game of 20 results specifically, Wrangler?
Yeah, nothing much. Just I guess people who watched our last video, we had a shout out on West Ham Bowen, and he had a haul, so it was really good. But otherwise, I think it was, as you said, like there are two upsets, but
Hmm.
nothing to. I mean, those don't have much implications this week, I guess. So we can move forward.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. So, of course, the big news this week, which was announced earlier today, uh, earlier yesterday, if you're hearing from UK. So, three double game weeks: West Ham, Everton, and Brentford. All of them are doubling. West Ham's doubles are against Crystal Palace away and Norwich home. Everton's is against Brighton home and Leicester home. Brentford's double is against Aston Villa home and Southampton away. So, what was your first impression, Wrangler, after seeing the doubles?
First of all, I really didn't expect West Ham a double this week, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. I was very much expecting Leicester double game week this week,
Hmm.
but at least I mean, this is expected. Like some of the teams are gonna be in double game week this week, so yeah, I mean, it's always exciting, right? Double game week means lots of
Yeah,
strategy, how you do that.
absolutely.
So um, we'll see how it goes. So yeah.
ZD, you have anything
Yeah,
to
it's good to
comment?
see West Ham got like two like double game week, and it's a good double game week.
Hmm.
That was exciting part. But I was really surprised that Watford did not get any double game week this week. Even
Hmm.
Burnley as well, but they have lots of postponement. But yeah,
Right.
as a fantasy player, this is good for us, right? So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah, uh, I think uh, pretty excited.
yeah. We all are. So just kind of quickly touching on the other fixtures beyond Game Week 21. Of course, 21 is double. We were expecting that some of the doubles in Game Week 22 would be announced as well. Did not happen, at least not before the Game Week 21 deadline. Very unlikely that it would happen in the next 5 hours or so. And there is a reason, of course, right? The FA Cup third rounds are the coming week also. So they're kind of waiting to see if any postponements happen in the FA Cup. They will have to place those matches in the Game Week 22 midweek, right? So they're kind of waiting to see if that happens. Then they will kind of adjust the schedules for Game Week 22. As ZD mentioned, there are a bunch of teams that have a lot of postponements, right? Tottenham has three, Burnley has four, a bunch of other teams have three at least. A few have two. So yeah, a lot of schedules to kind of reschedule, but fixtures to reschedule. But this is what we know right now, at least. So of course, I mean, as we already showed in the last slide, Brentford, Everton, and West Ham doubling this week. Uh, Next week, one thing we know for sure is that West Ham and Man City won't double. They don't have any schedules, any fixtures to be rescheduled. So for sure, West Ham and Man City cannot double. And that's probably one of the things that we'll talk about if we want to kind of triple up on West Ham this week. What's our plan for next week with all the single game weekers, with everyone else doubling and so on, right? So we'll talk about that. Uh, but yeah, anything specifically you guys want to talk about on the fixtures? Yes.
No, I think you touched like whatever we wanted to like convey here. So I think
Okay.
we can move forward.
Okay, so of course, I mean, talking about the double game week assets next, West Ham, Everton, and Brentford. We are not going to talk about Brentford much, especially the last few weeks. They haven't been in form, neither attackingly nor defensively. To be honest, they started the season well, but they're not in a good place right now overall. So West Ham assets, first of all, Wrangler, you want to talk about it, their attack and defensive options?
Yeah, so in this slide, we just try to summarize a couple of options. Probably most of the managers are thinking. So first of all, in terms of attacks, I guess like either of them, either Anthony or Bowen, or even people have double up like me. But these are the two, like I would say more prominent attacking options we will see and transfer in this game week, highly owned. And people will definitely probably go for double up because Antonio's ownership is already high. Bowen had a haul last week.
Right.
People actually will be kind of have dilemma whom to captain. That would be we're gonna probably touch later. But if you see the stats, Antonio actually had a haul at the very beginning of the season, like in first 3 games, and that's where the data is kind of very much inflated, right? While recently Bowen was in very much very good good form. I mean, he was in set pieces. He had lots of involvement. He had good like assists as well, and also he had scored last week. So I think it would be kind of 50-50 call in terms of captaincy choice. But I mean, there is nothing right or wrong here. I mean, I think it can go either way. So people can have any options. I mean, if they want, they can go any other options. I mean, either of these
Yeah.
options.
Yep.
And we can talk about like the captaincy as well later. In terms of, I think a lot of managers are considering also defense option from West Ham as well, especially since Reece James is injured, right? And he's going to be out like at least for 2 months, looks like. So since West Ham is having a double game week, people will be jumping onto one of these assets and removing the like Reece James. Now, a couple of the 3 options. I think these 3 options. I mean, based on the Twitter and also the stats and previous forms, I think definitely will stand out, like Craig Dawson and Sufal and Ben Johnson. Okay, and you can see the stats here and also the heat map here. So Sufal and Ben Johnson, as you know, right? I mean, they are kind of in a fullback position. Now Ben Johnson is kind of is kind of budget enabler. Like I mean, he's gonna be only 4 million. So if you want to spend money somewhere else, you can do that. But I think with Ben Johnson, you might get, expect probably at best a clean sheet. That's we can think of, and especially against Norwich. But I think people are having dilemma Dawson or Sufal. I think, and I think you are going to talk about it in terms of Reece James replacement as well later. But again, I don't. I mean, here, as you can see, right, Dawson has more attacking threats or goal threats, so people probably are gonna go
Yep.
for Dawson. But yeah, I think that's just I want to cover, or we wanted to cover here, and again, we'll see your other options as well whenever we talk about the Reece James replacement.
Yeah, just a quick question for ZD maybe. So, say if someone doesn't have either Bowen or Antonio, who would they prioritize, or who should they prioritize out of the two?
Yeah, it's a good question, but if I think this week the top managers like obviously in 10K, also beyond that, they might
Hmm.
have both of them,
Hmm.
Burn and Antonio. So I mean, they also have a game with Norwich in their home. So I mean, if somebody willing to spend -4 and take these two assets, I mean, obviously, I think that's the best thing because those two are definitely going to play 180 minutes. I mean,
Right.
be given the fixtures are like they have like good amount of gap in between them.
Hmm.
So both of them are actually good point, have like good
Okay.
point potentials. It's very hard to choose from one, but
Yeah.
actually I
Yeah.
have both of them and I am actually now confused who should I
To
give
captain. Yeah.
captaincy. But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
with current form and being a midfielder, Burn has the edge. But
Hmm.
yeah, both of
Hmm.
them are very good option, and I think -4 worth it. And
Is
also
what.
they have good picture in Game Week 22 as well.
Hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Good answer. So I mean, if you by chance if you don't have either of them, I think a -4 is very much worth it given the fixtures. Okay, let's move on. We'll talk about the defenders a little bit later also. Everton, why ZD? Why not you talk about it a little, and Wrangler, you also chime in.
Hmm.
Yeah, for Everton assets, I mean they did not play I think last 3 4 weeks, right? So it's a little bit tough to judge them how they are shaping
Hmm.
or how where they are. But all we know that uh, I mean they're a little bit unpredictable too. I always feel like that, but they
Hmm.
are a good attacking side. I mean, Gray especially if you see the stats here, I think it's from Fantasy Fix and
Hmm.
Wrangler and Kante, they thank you to both of you. You put this information. So every all of the area Gray has like a better age. Dokore, he's a good option as well. He's a box to box midfielder. He's a good one.
Hmm.
But obviously, he's if anyone is actually transferring in, I think Gray has little age because Dokore has 4 yellow card.
Hmm.
He's 1 game away from the suspension, and Everton only played 17 games. And
Right.
for Gray, I mean, he actually he I like him actually. So uh, potentially I'm going to get him for DCL. I mean, obviously, if DCL was playing like from 2 3 game weeks, everybody would
Hmm.
have taken DCL. But I think Rafa also told about that DCL minutes will be managed. So
Hmm.
uh, besides this, he's the best attacker from Everton side. Uh, but and his goals, expected goal, the stats also supports him. But
Right.
uh, those who are bringing DCL, for me, I think they can bring, but there is a risk. I don't think he's going to play like all 180 minutes for like for both games also. But he has a good upcoming fixtures actually.
Yeah, I mean,
So
even
what do you
like
think?
66, yeah, 60 minutes versus Norwich is not bad, right? If you
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely want to take that risk, that minute risk, that rotation, or not rotation, but his minute management risk, it's still good, right? Even if he
The
plays
Norwich
150
is
minutes.
actually in 22. So in
Yeah.
Oh,
21,
sorry, yeah. So in 22, yeah. But yeah, I mean, again,
Brighton
this
and
this week,
Leicester.
yeah, Brighton and Leicester are not bad fixtures either, for at least from
Mm.
an attacking perspective. Yeah, I mean, if you want to take the risk, right? I probably would not, but if you are on a free hit or if you are on a wild card, if you have your team set up well elsewhere, it's probably worth taking a chance. Why not, right? So
Yeah,
that
and
is how it is.
although Leicester stopped Liverpool, still Leicester is bad in defense, right? So,
Oh yeah, they were just lucky.
and
Yeah, they were
DCL is
just
going to play obviously that game, I guess. So,
right,
I mean, it's a good punt for those who are in free hit or wild card.
right. Wrangler, you have anything to add for the Everton
No, I think you
assets?
guys covered. And again, I'm also with ZD. Gray is better option than Dukuri here, at least for me. In terms
Mm-hmm.
of DCL, like the stats that we put is based on the first 3 day, like first 3 games where he scored in all the games, and in 2021, as you guys know, like, I mean, he scored 16 goals out of like 33 games that he played, and his goals per 90 and xg per 90 was 0.5, which is pretty good. So he has that ability. It's just like you have to see like his minutes. But if you see the fixture, right, the Brighton, Leicester, then Norwich, and he also has a potential double game week as well in 22, and then
Correct.
Aston Villa, Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton, right? So I think it would be like, I mean,
Yeah.
he should be able to cope up. So now the problem is you actually don't have much of options, because if you have Antonio and say Cristiano Ronaldo, then King or him, I guess that's the option. And
Mhm.
if you play free hit, as DD mentioned, that's another thing. So, but I think he's a very good shout out, and uh,
Correct.
yeah. So yeah, we
Also,
can move on to, yeah.
also feels like in 21, I mean, he might get regain his fitness from 22. If he get like double game week, probably he's going to be must have. I
And
think
I
so.
think I think he will be on penalties too, if I'm not wrong. He was
Yeah,
before
yeah, he was
he
so.
got injured. So yeah, I mean that's definitely for if they get a double in 22, he's probably going to be very highly owned in 22.
Mhm.
I-
Uh,
Is there like, is Richa is their main penalty taker?
Actually, right. Well,
no,
before
I
injury,
think it was Sigurdsson,
Oh
right?
yeah, yes, you got
Sigurdsson
some. Okay,
DC,
was,
yeah.
yeah,
but before injury, it was DCL.
yeah.
Mhm.
Diesel was their first
Yeah,
sticker. Yeah.
and they
All
had
right,
an
let's.
incident. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Everton defense here. We'll touch quickly on the next slide. So, of course, I mean, almost all of us, at least all the active managers, got James Reece. Either we got some points early from like game week 19, 9 to 10, 11, 12 in that time frame, or we transferred him in later. So we mostly did not get his hauls. But no matter what, so at least sounds like his injury is long term, probably a couple of months. Chilwell, as you all know, is probably out for the whole season. No, James is also out at least for a couple of months. So, of course, bad news for Chelsea. But we FPL managers, we have to kind of adjust our team and see where we can. Do we want to still be big at the back, or we want to redistribute the money? Ronaldo, Kane, all of them are kind of becoming options. They were not as much kind of over, say, from game week 10 to 18 in that time frame. So do you want to redistribute that money elsewhere, right? So of course there is a lot to talk about, and there are lots of options, right? So we are not looking at all the teams or all the options here at all. So we're kind of already focusing on the teams that have potential for double game weeks or like good fixtures in the upcoming the game weeks and so on. Of course, Chelsea is not on this chart. Other Chelsea players, as you know, they blank in 24 and 25. Manchester City, Cancelo and Diaz is already in some of our teams. They're all on this chart. Liverpool, Trent, we could not put on this chart because his XA value is like point close to point 0.5, so it kind of completely destroys the whole chart. So we removed him from the chart. But you, all of us have TA anyways. Uh, but anyway, so let's just quickly talk about what are the potential options, right? So as we're looking into the data, so basically on the x-axis we have the xg, so potential expectation for goals scored, and then on the y-axis we have the potential expectation for assists, right? So of course, as soon as you look at it, so of course Laporte and Davies are kind of at the very right end of it on the xg axis, right? So they, out of all these defenders, they have the best potential for scoring goals, right? If you want to look at it that way. And of course, Man City is the best defense in the league, right? Their XGC is like zero point 0.6, right? So by far the best defense in the league. Tottenham under Conte has improved a lot also over the last 5, 6 games, right? So Davis, again, the attacking returns are almost like bonus for these defenders, right? The main points for them are the clean sheets, which are almost probably more sure for Man City more than anyone else. So if you are looking at a long-term option, if you don't have any other fires to put out, if you have all the players that you want for the double game weeks and so on, Laporte is the probably the player that I would go for in the long term again, right? Again, if you don't have Diaz, if you have only one Man City mid and so on, right? So Laporte is the long-term option. He looks very dangerous. He looks nailed. Probably not as nailed as Diaz, but he has been playing very consistently over the next last few game weeks. So Laporte is my first priority, right, for James replacement. Davis and Regulian, both the Tottenham defenders, they would probably be next on the list. If you don't already have Cancelo, if you don't have Cancelo, you buy Cancelo, right? As simple as that. Or Trent, those are like obvious buys, of course, where all of us have them. But Davis and Regulian will probably be on the next on the chart. Uh, because again, Conte under Conte they have improved significantly defensively. Regulion, as you can see on the chart, is one of the defenders who has both goal threat and creativity. So he's kind of on both ends. Very good option for the long run. There is a little bit of rotation risk with Sessegnon, so look out for that. But again, if you're looking out for the whole season, he's a keeper, right? So, and Davis, for his price 4.5, I think he's probably the best value defender right now in the whole league. Of course, there are 4 million defenders playing also, but if you keep all the factors in, like defensive, uh, strength and everything, Davis is probably the best value player, right? So that those three would be my pick for the long run or the short run, without looking at the fixtures, right? So now you look at the fixtures. There are double game weekers this week, um, West Ham and Everton. Everton, first of all, there is not really much to look at, and I guess both of you would agree as well. And they have been very poor defensively throughout the season. Michael Keane is the only nailed player in their defense also. Ben Godfrey, Coleman here and there. But Keane is probably the only player I would even look at. But it's very unlikely that I would go there. There is a possibility that they can get a double-double in Game Week 21 and 22. But I would not go there. West Ham defense, as we were talking about in the other slide, they will be very popular this week specifically, right? None of us, almost no one of us got them like earlier in the season in the first 20 game weeks, but we are probably going to look at them this week, right? So as Wrangler mentioned, Dawson, Schufel, and Johnson, right? Johnson mostly for his price. He doesn't offer much attackingly. If they get clean sheet, he gets the clean sheet points, right? As simple as that. But if you want to get someone, if you have the money, you probably would go for either Schufel or Dawson, right? And as again Wrangler mentioned, Dawson has the better goal threat. So as you can see on the chart here also, is kind of right about here, right? So basically around kind of the same as Reguilon's goal threat, right? So he has a good goal threat. I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals last season too. And West Ham does score a lot of goals from corners, from free kicks and so on, right? They are a team dependent on set pieces for a lot of goals. So he is a good option, definitely. I am considering him, or at least I was considering him. Schufel is kind of a rotation risk. He was not the first choice right back before Johnson got injured. Johnson has been very good in this season, and I think he is still Moises' first choice for the right back position. So as soon as Cresswell comes back for the left back, I believe Schufel would be the right back. Sorry, Johnson would be the right back. But at least I think Wrangler, as you were saying, Wrangler, as both of you were saying before the video, that looks like Cresswell's injury is somewhat long term, right? So that position might be secured for Schufel right now. So not a bad option. So that's basically the core options, right? So of course there are a little bit here and there if you want to go for a Brighton defense, if you want to go for an Aston Villa defense, and potentially next week Liverpool defense, right? Now that Salah is gone, for a short term, for a very short term, for like a game week 22 targeted specifically. Remember that Robertson is out this week, right? He's still suspended for his red card. So game week 22, Salah is out. All of us have Jota and Trent. Robertson is probably going to be the best third position for the Liverpool, from the Liverpool team, right? I would definitely target either Robertson or Van Dijk, right? One of them, depending on your budget. Van Dijk, of course, has probably slightly better goal threat, as you can see here. But Robertson overall, he has been very consistent over the last few years, few seasons, right? Like the last 4-5 seasons. So Robertson, if you want to be like, they have a very good potential, very good double game week in 22, right? I think Leeds and Brentford, is it? Potentially, right?
Yes, Leeds for sure. I
Yeah,
think
Leeds
otherwise.
and Brentford at home.
Leeds and Brentford at home. So Robertson is going to be my target, at least for game week 22, as a James replacement, right? So, and again, of course, I, as a Chelsea double up defense holder, I have Alonso and James. I'm looking to eventually move both of them out, right? Because they blank in the next two game weeks in 24 and 25. So Robertson would be my target for potentially for game week 22. So that's basically my viewpoint. That's where I am. So at least this week, I'm probably going to be kind of considering either Spurs or West Ham assets. Next week, I'm going to look at Liverpool, and in the long run, I'm going to look at Man City double up defense. Again, I had double up on Man City midfield, but at least looking at everything else, given the rotation and everything, looks like it's probably better in the long run for the season to double up on Man City defense, right? Wrangler, I know you are already doubled up with Diaz and Cancelo, but if you anyone doesn't is not already doubled up, if you have a place in your team, Laporte is probably a season keeper for the rest of the season. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think you covered like very good here. This slide is so good. I think people will need this info. I hope they find this very helpful. One thing just to add here is that I mean, whenever people are thinking of bringing either the Dawson or Sufol or even Keane, I'm assuming they're gonna consider probably a -8 here, might be, or I mean, it depends. Like in that case, they will have probably triple up, like West Ham, and as we discussed, right? That so there will be like two double game weeks, like this week and the next week. Now, like how many transfer you want to do, right? Because if you do -4 or -8 this week, and again next week, this will be like single game wickets, right? The West Ham, as we
Right.
mentioned. So then you have to again transfer back. So just don't think this week. You have to think about the unless you play free hit in the
Right.
22. So
Yeah,
that's
think of
just
it like this way that most of the defenders would play three fixtures over the next two game weeks, anyways. Not
yes,
just the double game weekers this week. Most of the players would have 3 game weeks over 21 and 22. So think it like that.
right. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's all good. We can probably
All
move
right.
on unless ZD has anything.
Okay. So just quickly touching on Bernardo, nothing much to talk about. We did talk about, we have been talking about Bernardo for like last, I think we spoke about him for in our last 3 videos too. At least me and ZD, both of us had him. Wrangler, you did not. I was
Lucky.
lucky that yeah, I was I was lucky that I got his hauls, like his 15, 10, and six
Hmm.
pointers. But over the last 4 game weeks, I think Man City has scored like 18 goals, and he has had no contribution at all, not even an assist. All of us who have watched the matches, we know that he should have scored a goal against, I think, Leeds, right? And again in the last match, Sterling missed a sitter with from his assist, so he could have had some return, right? It's not like that he was poor or anything. He still is essential for Man City, and I just don't see with Pep's setup how he can play without him, right? So he's for from a like a PL standpoint, EPL standpoint, he's essential, right? But from an FPL standpoint, easy anymore, right? Especially given how many good midfielders we have in that budget bracket, right? 6 to 8 million. So for me, at least, the way I'm thinking right now, I have Foden in my team too, right? And uh, as I kind of briefly mentioned in the beginning of the video, and most of you guys, if you are on Twitter, you already know, Foden potentially has COVID, right? We don't know for sure yet. We'll probably know before the deadline, hopefully. Uh, if he does have COVID, then Bernardo is not my priority transfer out anymore, right? Foden is. So if you have Foden, hold. If you have to make maybe 2 transfers in the midfield, say if you don't have Bowen and Gray, you want to get both, maybe both of them are transfer outs. But as I mentioned, right, there are many other midfield options kind of popping up from here and there: Bowen, Gray, Madison, and Rafinha, right? How can we forget Rafinha? And again, Leeds have a good fixture this week, right, against Burnley. They may potentially double next week. So lots of options, right? So if you can transfer him out, if you have the luxury, if you have the free transfer, uh, potentially yes, transfer him out. You guys want to touch quickly on this? ZD, I know you have him too.
Yeah, so I think you covered it pretty well, and that's true. Like, if we know that Foden is playing for sure, probably we would
Hmm.
sell. But as that's uncertain so far, I
Hmm.
mean, we need to wait until the deadline. If we have any information, then probably we can um,
Right.
take this route. Another one, probably I can mention, if anybody need like have any route to get Son probably in place
Oh
of
yeah, I
Bernardo,
forgot about
then
that. Yes,
you can
absolutely.
go. I mean, without that route, uh,
Very good
I
point.
mean,
Yeah.
you can actually keep him only for this week. But other than that, I mean, um, uh, whatever you said, that was good.
Yeah. So Wrangler, I know you have Foden, you don't have Bernardo, and you at least are thinking about going from Foden to Son. At least that's your one of your potential transfers, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what actually I mean. Like I was gonna say that, but Zidi already said that. It's, I mean, that's the thing. Like if you want to, like if
Get
that's
Son.
your route to get Son, then I think probably you should not hesitate. Probably because
Absolutely.
Son has more like higher
Upside.
upside than here.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Again, nothing much to talk about here, right? So Salah, a lot of us, not most of us, a lot of us did get rid of him before his blank. A lot of people did free hit. They still have Salah in their team. ZD, I know you transferred him back into your team, right? So, what is your plan with Salah right now? What are you thinking? We'll talk about your team in a few minutes, but what would be your first thought about Salah if you have
Yeah,
him?
so I mean, last week I decided to get him back with -4, but I sacrificed Ronaldo, so I gained a little bit rank. But I mean, the loss was huge. But the thing is, we all know that um, I mean, Salah could easily get probably uh, 10 to 15 points, right? So which maybe looks like okay, but it was not a
Mhm.
great decision, as Ronaldo actually um, got 12 point as well. But
Mhm.
later I was thinking of holding him probably against Chelsea, because it was going to be
Mhm.
Salah versus Alonso, where I mean, and also Chelsea is little bit shaky. Also, Reece James, I know it's not his flank, but it's still they are in not in good shape in defensive way. So it was a good option for him, and Salah is going to be kind of differential. But after hearing I was actually planning to play wild card as well, because I don't have any Spurs asset, and against Watford I did not want to go without any Spurs attackers. So
Mhm.
I could do easily Salah to um,
Son.
Son, but I did not wanted to get like so many minus, and as I'm not that happy with my team, so I just wanted to move from there and
Restructure. Yeah.
yeah, restructure. And as I have to free hit, I just wanted to take a chance, like probably identify the future bandwagon and get them as soon
Mhm.
as I can. So I just played in that route. I don't know, is it
Yeah.
going to be a good one or bad one, but I just wanted to take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, probably this week Salah is going to be a differential captain, right?
Yeah,
Almost his
of
EO will
course,
most likely be below
of
100%.
course. Yep.
Hmm.
So if you still have Salah, if you cap him, and he can haul, right? He has been very good this season. He
Yeah.
scored 10-pointer against Chelsea and Man City earlier in the season. He always kind of is in around, right? So if Liverpool scores, he will be in the goals. So yeah, I mean, but again, as ZD also mentioned, right, there are probably higher priority players that you want to get to, like Son or Ken, or maybe even a Ronaldo, right? So uh, he's a sell. I mean, he's out after this week, anyways. If you are planning for the long term, he's probably a go. Wrangler, you want to add anything?
For me, actually, for this week, he's hold for me.
Okay.
I mean, if like say if we would not have double game week, I
Mhm.
know that a lot of people would captain Salah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think, I mean, whoever, I mean, have them, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you have Salah. So again, because Chelsea was shaky, as you guys said, and like now, no Reece James and Alonso is not very promising as well. So there
Mhm.
might be returns from Salah, and that's I'm expecting as well. So for me, he's a hold if you have him this week. Next week, either you do free hit or sell, whatever you do. But
Okay.
this week he's a hold for
All
me.
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about our teams quickly. So this is my team. So last week went well. A lot of players chipped in. Bowen did well. Foden did well. I kept Son. He didn't haul, but was at least better than Salah's zero pointer, of course. So still helped. And of course, Ronaldo in the last game, he also got a 12 pointer. So overall, the game week went pretty well. I went up from 212k to sorry, 202k to 106k, so almost have my rank. So I was happy, definitely happy. A good week after 19 was a disaster, right? So I basically went from 100k to 200k in game week 19. The free hitters did very well, so it kind of covered up. So again, that's kind of another thing, right? So if you don't just get disheartened by one game week, right? Just the next game we can you can always come back. We have all our chips to play, so there is always the likelihood that you can recover. So of course, from a transfer standpoint, Reece has to go, right? So he's hogging a lot of money in my team, 6.2 millions. So first thought for me is Reece to possibly a West Ham defender. Most likely that's not going to be my route to go because I want Antonio, right? So Antonio is my FOMO this week. His EO is very high, still very high in the top 100k, 200k region. I think it's in the 50% ish region, right? A lot of people held on to him. A lot of people bought him back. I did buy him back, but then I sold him, right? So at least for this double game week, there is almost zero possibility that I'm going without him. So I definitely want Antonio. And if I want to get to Antonio, potentially I need to take a -8. So I was talking to Wrangler and ZD before the video. Potentially Reece to a Spurs defender, most likely Davis, and Foden to Gray. Gray again is not just for this double game week, as we mentioned in the beginning. Everton may double in game week 22 also. And their fixtures are good after that too. So Gray for 5.5 million, I think is a very good long-term buy. So essentially, I'm selling two non-players, which is or three non-players: Reece out for injury, Foden out for COVID, and Davis who doesn't play at all. Right. So I'm getting rid of three non-playing players. I'm getting three playing players, two of them who double this week, and one possibly two of them doubling next week. Right. So it's a -8, but I think overall it's a point gain for me. And again, as I mentioned, there is just no way I want to go without Antonio this week, right? There is, I'll not sleep if I go without Antonio. And it's a long game week. Remember, West Ham's games, the first one is
Last.
on first, and then the second one is on 11th. So yeah, I definitely want to ruin my two weekends at least. So definitely. So that's most likely the route I'm going to go. I'm still kind of dwindling over what defender to get. So Gray and Antonio for sure. Davis is not nailed yet. It could be a West Ham defender or it could be Reguilon. But as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm kind of forward thinking also. So I want to get to a Liverpool defender, for the third Liverpool spot in game week 22. So most likely Davis saves me the money, and I like him too, as we saw in the showed in the chart. He has good goal threat and so on, and Tottenham as a defensive unit they're good. So yeah, so that's most likely going to be my route. Initially, I was thinking a little about free hit, but I don't think free hit is worth this week given everything. Uh, but yeah, you guys have any comments on my transfers?
No, I think option two, I also like it. And also, again, I think it should be Davis. I mean, at least that's my personal thought because if you again, I mean, if you take West Ham, then you'll have triple up. And as we discussed, right, next week, again, you have to take heat to bring someone back.
Yeah.
Not worth it, probably. So, I mean, Spurs has a good fixture this week anyway, Watford, and Davis has good attacking threat. So I think if that's the route, and if you plan to Liverpool, like
Mhm.
either Van Dijk or Robo, whoever it is,
Right.
it's -8, but I think it's locked long term. It's I mean, I support that.
Yeah, I think I'm setting up my team for at least next 3-4 weeks potentially.
Mhm.
So
Hopefully.
might just be what. Yeah, we never know, but yeah, hopefully yes. All right, so let's move on. Wrangler, your team.
Yeah. So yeah, like my game week 20 was one of those week where, like, whatever you do, it works for you.
Hmm.
So it was really good for me. So I was in 95K before the game week, and then I came to 29K. So as you can see, like, kind of, one third almost.
Right.
So yeah, I had like Foden captain, who had like 11 pointer. I
Hmm.
also had Bowen. I also had Cristiano Ronaldo, and I had also several like assists like Antonio and King, and Cancelo and Diaz had clean sheet. So it was overall a pretty good game week for me. This week, I mean, as you can see, I have Diaz and Cancelo, so double up. I'm still planning to have them. Trent is gonna be there as well. Hoping that Liverpool and Chelsea game goes on. Foden, as we talked, right? He has a COVID situation, and in that case, I might transfer him. That's one of my option because I don't have Son. Like you guys have Son, but Son is very much like
Hmm.
having threat in my rank. So that's one of my like FOMO here. So
Right.
Bowen, I put captaincy here on Bowen. He has double game weeks. He's in midfield.
Hmm.
So he has like if there is any clean sheet or any goal, he actually gets more point than Antonio. So that's why he's my choice, and he's in set pieces as well and more involved. So that's why, at least as of now, he's in my captaincy. Jota is there. So Saka, I put him here, but actually my I'm gonna talk my potential transfer, but
Hmm.
my three forwards will be there, like Antonio, Ronaldo, and King. Now one of the options actually I have one free transfer, so directly I can do Martinelli to Gray. So Gray will have double game weeks, potentially double game weeks, and I have Anthony and Bowen, so I will have three double game week players. And this is kind of an irony because I took Gray, as you know, long time back whenever I had Cristiano Ronaldo. I took
Hmm.
him for a long term, and then he didn't play, and I was kind of having FOMO with Martinelli, and I transferred him, and now I'm kind of switching them again. It was not a good decision anyway before, but anyway, another route I have, or another, option I have is with -4 hit Saka to Gray again. So I'm gonna take Gray regardless, whatever I do, and I might go for Foden to Son. So with a -4, and I don't think I'm gonna go for -8 because that's gonna be too much. But I have to also get out Reece James because he's not playing.
Yeah, I think
Um,
for you, like as I mentioned, like a lot of people are already doubled up on Chelsea defense, so
mhm,
they have to get rid of two defenders, one this week, one next week, like me.
mhm,
I don't think you will be too behind if you still have Reece in your team, as long
mhm,
as you are not stranded for fund elsewhere.
mhm.
But -8 probably won't be worth it for you in your position, right? I would not if I had
Yeah.
Antonio in my team already, right? So yeah, I would not probably go there for -8.
Yeah, hopefully, like I have also like two Manchester United player, right, DG and Ronaldo. So if that game goes on, Chelsea and Liverpool game goes on, then I should be in good shape. But if those game get cancelled, then it's gonna
Yeah.
be tricky. So we'll see. Before the deadline, hopefully we'll get something. But that's my plan right now. Definitely getting Gray, and I might get Son with Heat. Anything
Perfect.
you? Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. ZD, your team. So you are playing wildcard. Talk us through. You are muted.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm as I said, uh, my team was actually probably I could manage this gaming, but I just wanted to take a chance to get uh, the players early, like whoever people are going to target, and I can. So that's why I decided to do wildcard. It was helpful also um, after hearing the announcement of double game week. So I will make some change from here. Probably I would go for to DCL instead of Watkins, and also probably I would take Pickford. Um, and Sanchez probably in the goalkeeper combination. So the thing is, I am actually relying much here. If Everton get a double game week in game week 2022, because I am going to triple up on them.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't trust Everton defense, but as a goalkeeper, they might get some save points. So I am just relying on that, and I am actually planning to play bench boost as well. So I wanted Son Kane duel up, so that's another reason for playing wildcard.
Mhm.
And I want Madison for upcoming that double game week. He's in a good touch, and uh, yeah. So also as I am playing in this week, I would like to take some opportunity and have as much as player I can get for double game week. But
Mhm.
I also want to be careful that in next game week I don't want to take like um, lots of minus. So probably I would take just only one hit. Probably so in I'm trying to build up my team in that way, and probably I'm going to stick with whatever I said. I'm going to get DCL in place of Watkins,
Mhm.
and um, instead of Forster and De Gea, I'm going to get Sanchez and Pickford. I think that's all the changes I might do. Do you guys have any suggestion or anything?
And just a question: any reason you are going for Kane over say Ronaldo
The thing is, I think
for the long term again, not for this game week, but overall?
yeah. So I mean, Kane is in very good shape, and I'm guessing he's going to get a haul very soon. Another thing is, I think I'm hoping that versus Watford is. Although I was actually before double game week,
Mhm.
I was if I play wild card, I would give captaincy to Kane.
Mhm.
But now it's different. Another thing is I don't know what will happen in Man U versus Wolves game. So there is a chance that it might get cancelled. I just
Right.
don't want to take that risk. And also, I think in game week 2022, they are going to play some defensive team. So which seems like little tough
Mhm.
uh, game for Man U. So like Aston Villa and another team I forgot.
Brighton, I think.
Yeah, Brighton. Brighton is very good also defensively, right? So I know Kane is going to play Arsenal
Yeah.
and another team. Um, I can't remember, but I think it's an okay fixture. So that's why I'm actually taking a punt on Kane. It's like
Yeah, I
more
mean,
of
at least for
punt.
this week, definitely, right? As you said, you want to
Yeah,
maximize your points this week since
yeah,
you're wildcarding. So
yeah,
definitely, Ken versus I think Ken and Son versus Watford is the differential, right? A lot of
yeah.
people will have Son, a lot of people will have Ken, but having them both versus
Mhm.
Watford is going to be your big differential.
Yeah.
That's where you gain points. So good strategy.
And also, I mean, it's like kind of risk as I am like in 134K,
Mhm.
just um, taking some punt, of course. And I think Kane is in good shape. I'm hoping that he
Yeah,
will come back very
yeah.
Absolutely.
strongly.
It shows it.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's getting his touches back. Looks like.
yeah,
Yeah, I know before the doubles got announced, Wrangler and I were talking about Ronaldo to Kane even, right?
Hmm.
Potentially.
yeah, yeah.
Before all the postponements and before the double
Hmm.
game weeks. That was a possibility. And of
Yep.
course, we cannot afford it right now because we have to transfer elsewhere.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was a
if you
possibility.
get Ronaldo actually, and actually, it does not make sense to
Mhm.
move from him unless any game get postponed. I mean, with the free hit or -4. I mean, that's my example is there because I took out Ronaldo and took Salah with
Right.
-4,
Right.
and probably I lost actually my 16 points, right? So it does not. I mean, those whoever actually, I mean, you should not do it with the heat. Probably wildcard, there could be risk of losing, but still, you
Mhm.
can take that chances in a free hit or a wildcard.
Right. All right. So let's just finish up with some of the common dilemmas. We briefly spoke about it. What do you guys think? Is it worth at all free hitting in game week 21? Yes, no.
No, I don't
No,
think
I
so.
don't think so.
I
22 maybe, but not 21.
I think the essential player probably Bowen and Antonio. No one else,
Exactly.
right?
So I mean,
Grace, we are hoping, but I don't think he's like super essential, right? We are not
Right.
going to captain him at least.
yeah.
Okay, is
Right.
it worth taking a -4 or -8 to get double game week players? So we are almost all of us are doing it. Of course, ZD is playing his wild card, but uh,
Yeah.
yes, I think
I
the short answer is yes. Of course, make sure that you set up your team for the long run. Also, think about your chip strategy, right? How do you want to play any chip in game week 22? Potentially, do you want to free hit or do you want to bench boost? So
Mhm.
even if you're taking a minus hit, make sure that your transfers are at least somewhat long term. Just don't focus too much on the double game week itself. Anything else you guys want to add?
I think yeah, that's. I mean,
Okay.
both of us are getting that hit, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Captaincy. First question. Would you either of you consider a single game weeker over any of the double game weekers this week for captaincy at all?
I'm not.
I'm not doing it because West Ham actually got a very good fixture. I mean,
Mhm.
if they did
Yeah.
not get this fixture, probably I would go with uh, uh,
Kane.
Spurs boys. So yeah,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
Kane or so on. But now, I mean, West Ham got so much good fixture. Everyone would back up, back
Right.
either Anthony or Bowen.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay, so Antonio and Bowen. So who are you guys leaning towards more and why? Wrangler?
Yeah, I already told in my team selection as well. Kind of, I'm leaning towards Bowen right now. Uh, First of all, he's in the mid. He plays in the midfield, so if he gets any clean sheet, one extra point in the goal as well. And also he's very much involved. He's in set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully 180 minutes. I mean, Antonio also should have 180 minutes, but mostly because of his recent form as well. I am leaning towards Boyan. But again, as I told before, that
Mm-hmm.
having Antonio is not also a wrong decision. It's very much 50-50 actually.
Correct. ZD?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think Bowen is a very good shout. As with his current form, he's a
Mm-hmm.
midfielder, and as Rangla said, he's in everything. With Cresswell out, he's in all the set pieces. So Bowen is a very good shout. I mean, it's very tough to choose because if Antonio scores, probably Bowen is going to be involved in that goal as well, right? So I think Bowen has slightly edge, but it's not bad decision if you captain Antonio as well.
Yeah, I think the fitness thing is also probably important.
Yeah, of course.
Antonio, I always worry about his fitness.
Yep.
He's, of course, more fit this season, but
Mhm.
I kind of, every time I see him, I feel like he's going to pull his hamstring or
Yeah,
something, right?
this
So,
is very good point. Yeah, because you
yeah.
never know if he get injured in first
Mhm.
game,
Yeah.
then it's going to be lost. But we don't expect that, but
Yeah.
there is a possibility.
Right.
Yeah, and
Uh,
also like I mean, as you said before, right? Dawson has more attacking threats because in the corner they actually like either Socek or like Dawson. They actually kind of contribute a lot, and that's where Bowen also comes in because he takes those corners. So,
Mhm.
does he
so
take the corners from both sides or
I
just
think
from
he
the
definitely takes from the
Sh-
left. I
Yeah,
don't.
shares, I guess. Like for
yeah,
other one, other side, it's
Is
Fornals
it
or something?
Fornals or Ben Ramon? I
Fornals
don't
is
know.
out, I guess.
Fornals is
So
also out. Yeah.
yeah, I think
Anyways, yeah.
Lanzini.
Lanzini maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So that's it from us, I guess. So -8, Wrangler, -4, ZD, wildcard, Bowen, captaincy, potentially. Unless we hear something. Of course, look out for the news on Foden, whether the
Hmm.
COVID news is true or rumor. But yeah, we are only about 4.5 hours from deadline. So best of luck to everyone. Nice talking to you again, Wrangler and ZD. Thanks for the time. We'll meet soon again. The game week 22 starts on January 15th or something like that, right? So we have some time between now and then. So hopefully we'll see you again in between that time frame. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Yeah.
Wrangler. Thank you, ZD.
And Happy
yep.
New Year to everyone.
Happy New
Happy
Year
New
to
Year.
everyone.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Yeah.